All right. I'm live. Nobody cares yet, but that's okay. So, this is my first time going live, as if you couldn't tell. There's a baby at home. Unfortunately, baby's sad, a little bit feverish, but that's okay. Hopefully, it's not anything serious. We are living in interesting times. And so, I wanted to do. Just a little kind of productivity, creativity tune up for people. Maybe some are staying home when they wouldn't normally be. Maybe some people are dealing with different challenges based on today's environment that they wouldn't normally be. Maybe you have kids at home. Maybe you have a spouse at home. Maybe you have kids and a spouse at home, which is what I have right now. And so maybe you're a little off your game, or how I see it, maybe it's an opportunity to start a new game and get some new habits down, get some new productivity habits down, get some new creativity habits down. I I don't know. I mean, it's so easy to panic, I think, and it's very warranted. I feel like the human toll to the situation right now is undeniable. But that being said, can we spin this into a positive, at least while we're all in it together, and at least while we're still kicking, and the apocalypse, touch wood, hasn't come yet? I'm not a Vikings fan. I'm a California person living in Minnesota. So nobody cares about that. But I wanted to give you today's creativity and productivity tip. Hopefully, these live on beyond the epidemic. People come find them later, not just now. And so they're not really necessarily tied to anything that's going on. They're just best practices that I try to implement in my own life. And the first tip that I have for today, and I'll be giving tips at noon central every day through the 29th. The first tip that I have today is that work expands to fill the time that you allot for it. So what does that mean? If you have a undefined length of time for your project, it's maybe something you want to do later, or yeah, I want to write every day, but I don't really have a plan for myself. I don't really have any kind of schedule going on. You are going to probably take as much time as you've allowed yourself to take for that project. And so if you haven't allowed a specific amount of time, if you haven't allowed a specific goal for yourself, if you are very kind of loosey goosey about it, the you will take as long as you give yourself, basically. So the work will either happen on a timeline, and you will get your mojo on and get it done, or if you're very open ended about your goal or about the time that you're willing to give your goal, then it will sort of grow and loom large and intimidate you, and you'll procrastinate if you're anything like me. And it will sort of drag on in a way that maybe isn't so conducive to getting that goal done in the first place. For me, this happens with emails that I'm not necessarily looking forward to responding to because they're very comprehensive. I work in editorial, and I love talking to my clients. I love giving them kind of aftercare for their edits, but sometimes a client, rightfully so, will send me a letter of about 15 pages where they have different questions, different comments that they want to make on the edit. And for me, like answering a quick email, which is usually what I have time for, this does not fall under the umbrella of a quick email. And so I have to kind of make time to answer these giant emails. It's one thing that really slows me down, and I wish that I was better at it, honestly. So this is something I'm working on while I'm under quarantine. But that being said, I don't tend to give myself a deadline for answering these emails, and so they sort of expand and they loom large, and they sort of don't get done because I haven't really put a time frame or any kind of limit or anything on them. And so 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I didn't do the thing. And if you're anything like me, you've probably had that experience. Oh my goodness, 2 weeks have gone by and I haven't reworked my prologue. I haven't sat down to have this writing time to carve it out for myself. I've been watching a lot of Marie Forleo, and she's fantastic. She's all about creating the life and the business that you love. That's kind of her tagline. And she calls it tasty time chunks. I don't know if I'm really crazy about that name. I probably would have called it something else. But in one of her videos, she does say, give yourself, like, schedule your day out. And I actually, I could be better at this, but it's basically the wisdom behind it is you give yourself that chunk of time. You got to do all your emails in that chunk of time, and then you move on. Then it's not email time anymore. And for me, that's something that I really could benefit a lot from, because the thing that I have to do, the emails, they would get their own chunk of time. And when it's not email time, it's not email time, and you can move on to something else. Otherwise, they sort of expand and just take over my life, because it's always email time and it's never email time. And that's kind of like the balance that I work with on a daily basis. It's like, I haven't made time to to do these emails. So let me pop into my inbox one by one and sort of like respond to things. And then it just takes over my entire day. And somehow email has been my day. And something that I've started doing is I've started scheduling an hour every day for emails. I'm still kind of bad at it, to be honest with you, but as with any new habit, it takes, I think, something like 30 days to really get a habit ingrained and working and tuned up and all of that. And I'm really trying this because I know intimately from my own life that work expands the time that you allow for it. And so if you limit your time, or you schedule your time, or you really, really clearly define your time, you will take the time, or you set yourself up for more success to take that time. Sorry about the dogs. It's a full house today. And then you will get the thing done. So for writers, this really, really pertains to your writing time. 15 minutes a day that you actually do take is better than 15 minutes every 2 weeks when you like, oh, I should write. I really want to write. I'm going to write tomorrow. I'm going to write this weekend. And then you don't end up over the course of a week or 2 weeks actually taking those 15 minutes. So you could have actually had 15 minutes times 7 days, put it all together. That is a lot of math. Or you could have just 15 minutes that you were guilting yourself into by the end of 2 weeks or a week or however long. And so I think that allowing yourself that time to accomplish what you want, putting it on your schedule if you have to. I have a calendar that I keep every day. I kind of like schedule out blocks of time to do different things, like editing, like replying to clients, like replying to new inquiries, working with my team. These are all things that I kind of like have started really chunking out into Marie Forleo's Tasty Time Chunks, which again, really not crazy about that name. But she has like a whole baking analogy. Anyway, and then it's like the timer goes up. I've actually started using a kitchen timer. I'm wearing pajama pants right now, or I would go show you my kitchen timer. I actually have it on a dresser over there. It's not like a secret that I work in my pajamas, but whatever. Vanity. And so I've actually started setting a timer, and I know that when the timer is ticking, I get the kind of the physical, visual, sensory reinforcement of like the tick, 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 tick. And then I sit down and I do my emails, and this is my block of time for an hour. And when the timer goes off, I get to feel a sense of accomplishment because I've taken that time. That's my email time. And now I'm freer to go do whatever I have scheduled out for the rest of the day. And I feel good that I've done my time doing whatever it is. And so for writers, I would say schedule out 15 minutes, schedule out 30 minutes, whatever you think is doable. Really defend that time and take that time. And when that time is up, you can keep going if you're on a roll, or you can walk away. But at the end of a week, at the end of 2 weeks, you will probably have something that you can be a lot prouder of, because otherwise, if you leave it open ended, if you leave it kind of dangling over your head, you may not be as inclined to do it. And something that could have taken you an hour ends up taking you 2 weeks to do. And so this kind of wisdom of, the task expanding to the time allowed for it, has really been on my mind a lot. It's something I could get a lot better with, but that's what I hope to impart for you for this very first inaugural sort of 14 days of creativity and productivity tips for writers live stream that I'll be doing, because hey, we're all hanging out, we're all doing our social isolation piece, and why not get together and think about how we can make this all a little bit better for ourselves, for each other, and for our eventual creative goals or business goals or whatever we're also trying to accomplish, in addition to, just kind of staying alive. Happy first day of the live stream. I hope you join me for the next 2 weeks. I'm running this series at noon central through the 29th, when hopefully people may be kind of heading back into their routines, but hopefully you will be heading back with a new piece of writing, some goals knocked off your to-do list, and maybe some new insights into life, productivity, creativity, and work. So enjoy, and I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. All right. Bye.